Hi everyone, welcome to the GoldFish Report. I'm your host, Louisa. Today is Friday, excuse me, December 6th, 2018. And this is an interesting day because today we have former FBI Director James Comey on the Hill giving testimony behind closed doors. This is not news that I'm breaking. It's all over the place. Actually, one of the reasons I'm talking about it is that it's really not being talked about on mainstream media. You would think this is such a huge story. You would think that because this has to do with the email chain that was also part of, excuse me, that was also part of the declass request. You'd think that this would be all over mainstream media, but no. The possible resignation of excuse me, General Kelly is the one that's dominating the news. But this is huge. What's happening right now is huge. We know that we're getting ready, according to Q, we know that we're getting ready for military tribunals starting January 1st. There's just so much, indications on this. There's a lot of movement of troops that was announced down to Guantanamo Bay. This is not the first time, but this is, there's things going on behind the scenes that the mainstream media is not going to talk about. They ignore it. And I think I want to really stress the fact that they ignore these things. It's not that they don't know about it. It's just that they choose to ignore it. So you would think that this would be all over. Excuse me. I'm still trying to get over. I had pneumonia. Actually, I probably still have it. It's not going away very easily. So I'm sorry for my voice occasionally. So this email chain is extremely important. And of course, like I just said, it was part of the D-class, the FISA D-class as well. This is all going to come out. Why this is really important is, you see, Judicial Watch has reported as well that Hillary Clinton establish a private server to avoid FOIA requests? So this is a big question. Judicial Watch is on this. They've filed a lawsuit to investigate this. And I'm telling you, Judicial Watch is all over everything. I don't know where they're getting their funding from, but thank God they have it, because they're really doing some hard work, legal work, in terms of FOIA requests. So I would definitely follow them, because they're going to have that, those FOIA, they're going to have through FOIA. This is basically primarily what they're doing, is getting these documents for us. We also we have Q posting a lot right now, and what they're talking about, what Q's talking about, I'm just going to screen share real quickly. But what Q's talking about here is that there's, okay, why is the Clinton Foundation back in the news? And it looks like it's just the time. The time is right. Okay, so we have George Herbert Walker Bush, by the way, who, through the grapevine, it seems that maybe made a deal of some kind to have an honorable passing and funeral. There's just like McCain, it was like it was an agreed to execution. I can't confirm this. I can only tell you that this is some speculation. But it's interesting, because it seems like, at this point, Q has pretty much been informing us that these things are under, that people have been making deals. And of course, we're reminded that Hillary is getting no deal, according to even President Trump. No deals for people who are child traffickers, pedophiles and things of that nature, who have committed crimes against children. Now, let's not forget that in the OIG report, Horowitz stated that the Clinton Foundation was found to have committed crimes against children. But what does that mean? It just ended there. But no, this is what I think is going to happen. So what we had was Attorney General Jeff Sessions appoint Huber to investigate the Clinton Foundation. So this is what's going to be coming out. So we have, because of the funeral, Huber did not testify this past week, as everybody knows. And so everybody knows that this is going to be forthcoming, though, on the 13th, I think, is the date it's rescheduled for. So we're going to see a lot of revelations, folks, about this. Right now, Huber has actually requested documents from a private firm that's conducting their own investigation. Q talks about this. You can see it right here. Where did it go? Where's Q? Okay, here. This is about OIG is to release a second report. This is interesting, regarding overview of indicating many potentially criminal referrals. And so we have more coming out. Where does it say here? There's, I think it's right over here. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Including, so what's coming out, including whistleblowers and a hidden company established to investigate covertly. This is what I was just talking about. This is what is happening. Hold on a second. There's so much to report on, folks. Just bear with me. Yep. So this is rescheduled. So exactly. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure things out here. Okay, Huber testimony. We know that. We got to that. So look, I just wanted to bring this to your attention because you'd think today, sorry about the hesitation because I'm just still under the weather and not feeling that great. But I just wanted to do like a little wrap up from the week because it was very interesting. You know, just take a look at what happened on Monday and Tuesday. It was the first press conference, or not a press conference, actually. We're still waiting on a press conference from the president regarding the G20. I was really hoping that there would be one yesterday while I was still there, but that didn't happen. So he did say he would have a press conference when he returned. I don't know if GoldFish Report's going to be there. So we'll see what happens. But on Monday we had, and GoldFish Report had, the access. We were at the White House. Larry Kudlow, Secretary Mnuchin was there, and they were reiterating over and over again this commitment, this good faith, this positivity, this optimism about these trade deals with China. And of course, yesterday we had China stating that they are implementing things immediately, and that was the word that Larry Kudlow used over and over again, immediately. But what happens immediately? The mainstream media. So this is the news. This is why I'm glad I'm there, because Secretary Mnuchin says we're not going to just be kicking the can down the road. Okay, we have Ambassador Lighthizer there, who's very good at making sure that these deals, monitoring these deals and making sure that there's enforcement of the deals. They reiterated that this is in place, it's already ready. China says they're already ready to implement these. It's all good news. But what happens? The mainstream media gets it, and immediately they start casting doubt on this. I mean, where did the doubt come from? We had from our officials specific information talking about the results of the meetings, but of course there's been issues in the past with China, but this seemed very different. They made a point to mention this seemed very different, that there was a sense of immediacy, that they wanted to act on these trade deals. But what happened? What happened was mainstream media put doubt on these deals. But where did the doubt come from? Where did this huge doubt come from that caused the stock market to lose 800 points, 800 points in one day? And then on another day, they wanted to get more leverage out of it. Who's shorting the market? That's what I want to know. Who's shorting the market based on that news? So you see, folks, there's a function here that they're serving. They're not only serving two functions: one, to mislead people to ignore, certain good news and good things, but they're also, I think, there to, completely, when news hits, the markets react. And so this is exactly what happened. So, it was a bunch of people making a whole lot of money on this news through shorting the stock market, which, so I want you to understand that there's, more to meet the eye. I know most of the viewers get this, but for new people, I'm always keeping new people in mind, because I'm always hoping new people will be searching and looking for answers once they start seeing what's going on with the Clinton Foundation. So why is it in the news? It's in the news, and of course we have Q pointing to posting a few links. Excuse me, regarding, so the Hill was reporting that the feds received a whistleblower. Yes, so this was let out over the weekend. There were supposed to be whistleblowers showing up on Hannity, and that didn't happen. That had to be canceled. But one of these whistleblowers was an FBI employee. just so in case people don't know this. So I'm in contact with this person, and not directly, but I have indirect contact, and I have their own words. So this person was an FBI employee who followed the protocol, the legal protocols established for whistleblowers, and is supposed to be protected under whistleblowers. After he went to the authorities and gave them this information, his home was then raided, and it's believed that his home was raided not by the white hats or the pro-Trumpers, but by the swampers that still exist in the within these governments. And they were basically, essentially, I think what conclusion you would draw from this is that they were there looking to see what else he had that he wasn't handing over, he wasn't forthcoming with. Excuse me. You know, basically, they have the whole server. They have the DNC server. They have it. They have the files. They have everything. I just don't know why they would, do this to this man and kind of put his, life in harm's way and everything. But of course, it's a whistleblower. We know what happens when people blow the whistle on the Clintons. So we have to be careful. But what one of these links here is referring to is we have Representative Mark Meadows, who told Fox News, and this is one of the links here in the Q posts, who is the leader of the Conservative House Freedom Caucus and the chairman of the House Oversight Subcommittee on Government Operations. He's talking about misappropriation of funds, allegedly of a quid pro quo promises to donors while Hillary Rodham Clinton was Secretary of State. And his comments were this exactly, quote, "Whenever we look at the possibility of pay to play by government officials, current or former, it demands answers, and anyone who uses public office to sell access for their own financial benefit must be held accountable." So folks, why is this being revealed now? Why is Fox doing this now? And it's because they're trying to prepare the public for what's about to come out. I think we're going to have the mother of all bombs that's going to be coming out. That's my opinion. This is like an op-ed piece or an opinion piece, okay? So this is what's going to happen. And I'm also going to, excuse me, screen share. Let me see if I had other points that I wanted to make on this before I screen shared. What would be some evidence, something that leaked, some information that leaked. Right, so Comey, before I get to that, I wanted to just make the comment about Comey. So why is he on the Hill today testifying behind closed doors? Well, he has to testify. But behind closed doors, well, how is that really going to help the public? Well, it's because a public transcript will be made available. The question is, will it be redacted? Because the redactions really make the information useless. There's really nothing in there. Just like this Mueller investigation, there's nothing in there. It's a witch hunt. There's no Russian collusion from the side of President Trump, but hold on, there's definitely Russian collusion on the side of the DNC. So this is what's going to be, I think, in part revealed. Okay, so when it comes to pay to play, what are we talking about? I'm going to screen share a document here. Excuse me. Please excuse my scratchy throat. I can't get rid of it. This was, oh, right. Okay, sorry. Before I get to that, I wanted to also mention that it was reported today that CNN office was evacuated due to a bomb threat. But the news on the grapevine was that it was raided by the FBI. But of course, it's fake news, so it's not going to tell you the truth. They're going to tell you that it's a bomb threat. So that's quite interesting. We'll see what develops with that. Okay, so what is it that I'm going to share right now? I'm going to pull this up. for everyone. Bear with me. Okie doke. Let's see if I can get the whole screen. I'm not quite sure if the whole screen, no, I don't think so. Okay, this is just the first page. This was a document that was leaked. And this talks about Scarborough that says Algeria donated to the Clinton Foundation when it wanted off the terror watch list. So this is reported here. Television pundits are raising a lot of questions about foreign government donations to the Clinton Foundation during Hillary Clinton's tenure as Secretary of State. But not everyone get all the details right. Joe Scarborough of MSNBC Morning flubbed describing the situation in the April 27th show. He was discussing a column by the Washington Post, whose op-ed highlighted unreported donations to Bill Clinton's foundation by Algeria in 2010 as an example of sloppiness. However, the donation and others like it raised questions about whether Clinton went soft on Algeria for contributing to her husband's cause under the appearance of earthquake relief in Haiti. Scarborough said the situation will stink to high heaven, and he's right, even if it's a legal gray area. And they continue, I think it was Algeria maybe that had been given donations that went unreported at a time when they wanted to be taken off the terror list in the State Department, Scarborough said. They write the check, they get taken off the terror list, and at the same time, and then it goes unreported by the Clinton Foundation. Is there a quid pro quo there? I don't know. That's really hard to tell, he said. Scarborough went on to break down into his panelists how easy it would be to explain to voters what might have occurred. So, I mean, not really looking for the truth, looking to find a way to explain it another way. This is what's tricky. This is how they get through this. And of course, Scarborough mentions there's a list, and it is a serious designation given to just 4 countries the State Department considers state sponsors of terror: Syria, Iran, Sudan, and Cuba. So President Barack Obama is poised to remove Cuba from the list as a show of improved diplomatic relations, which I believe he did. So Algeria is actually a key partner of the United States in fighting terrorism in North Africa and has a long history of fighting terrorism, the State Department says. This is how they're spinning this. So there's also major human rights violations that were involved in this. Despite that, they did spend, Algeria, it's reported, spent more than $420,000 lobbying American officials on intercountry relations and on human rights issues. So I have to tell you, folks, this is, it's pretty much been for sale. This is basically how the government works. And if you want a little bit more evidence on this, there's a recent interview done by Catherine Austin Fitts and former Congresswoman Cynthia McKinney, where they talk about how business is done in DC. And I have the transcript right here, and I'm going to read a few quotes from this. They're talking about Russia, and let's see what they have to say here. I don't know if you ever, this is Catherine Austin Fitts talking to Cynthia McKinney. I don't know if you ever saw a purported whistleblower, FBI Anon, who was an alleged whistleblower. No one knows if he is authentic or disinformation, but he provided some information about the pay-to-play network around Clinton Foundation and was basically describing a network that involved a tremendous number of people throughout Washington. He implied it could bring down the government if the truth came out. Well, folks, I think that's what we're seeing, but in a controlled manner, a very controlled manner, thanks to President Trump and the team and the plan that is being implemented. This is all a plan, folks. It's all a plan. Essentially, they were selling massive favors globally to many foreign governments, and we're talking about enormous foreign government interference in both the U.S. governance and elections. Somebody asked him during the discussion, why does Hillary Clinton want to go to war with Russia? And he said, that's what the donations were buying. In other words, you have global interests who are basically buying a war. If you examine what happened with Libya, that is exactly what occurred. Basically, Clinton engineered the approval with Obama of the destruction of Libya and syndicated out who got the gold and who received the oil. It certainly appeared like it was part of the pay-to-play network. Pay-to-play network, hope I said that right, where everybody was making money, carving up Libya, and giving donations to the Clinton Foundation. God knows what else was happening behind the scenes. God knows, well, I think also there may be more than just God who knows what was happening behind those scenes. And I think it will be revealed. I think we're going to learn about this. What is the crimes against children in the OIG report discussing? Whether that's part of this particular deal, I don't know. You look at the voting in Congress and see that it is fundamentally going to destroy America. Essentially, is the money pouring into Congress? This is all still Catherine talking. To both the representatives and the senators. Are they being bought by global interests to start a war? And Cynthia McKinney's reaction to this was, you know, having been there, what I really believe is happening is that it's a nice life being a member of Congress. You say, okay, there's some bills that are money bills. There are some committees that are money committees. They're really ambitious members of Congress who are more ambitious than they are moral. Seek those money committees, and they are always on the money side of the money bills. Maybe I'm giving too much inside game, but I have seen members of Congress actually laugh at how stupid the people are who allow them to get away with voting for money bills. Then they return home and have this elaborate justification that has been provided with talking points by lobbyists, etc. It's like a cynical game. Let me just see how much I can get away with. This is, basically a quote. That's for the more ambitious ones. But generally, there are the ones who have come in knowing how the game is played, or they've been there long enough to understand that some things you mess with, some things you don't mess with. Most things you don't mess with. You certainly don't mess with any money bills. And that is the way they stay in office. But Cynthia McKinney continues, and I want to just read this next part. The perks of staying in office are great because people look up to you. You get to go anywhere in the world that you want to go. You are received by everyone. It's not really a matter of providing representation to the citizens who elected you. It's that the citizens now have a representative who is not very good at representing them. That is always forgiven by the citizens. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this to ourselves? Oh my God, just wait. This is really an incredible interview, folks. You should go to solariereport.com and definitely get this transcript for yourself. Find out what else they're saying. But let me continue with Cynthia McKinney's response. So if you've been there 10 years and you're going to be there for 15 or 20 years, as long as you choose to be there until you get on the wrong side of the money people. As I think I have mentioned before, you have one set, the Ziocons, that have figured this out. They realize that you have one set of people who play on the House side, and you have an entirely different set of money people and players who play on the Senate side. How do I know that? Because I was talking to one House member who said that she was going to run for Senate, but eventually ran for the Senate. She eventually ran for the Senate and was successful and won. She came back and told me that there was an entire different set of players on the Senate side. I would presume that you get to interact with the millionaires on the House side. You get to interact with the billionaires on the Senate side. That is probably the way it is divided. In the end, everybody gets a senator or everybody gets a Congress member except the voters. It's the ultimate pay-to-play scam from top to bottom. So, folks, I think this is what we're getting ready to see. I think that, the reason they're talking about this on Fox is to prepare the masses, the sleeping masses. There's a lot of details in everything that's going to be coming out. There's so much detail. If you look at the detail that actually QAnon has been dropping over this past over a year now, it is very detailed. It's like somebody who really loves the detail of investigative work, okay? And there's times when I like the detail of all the investigative work myself, but there's there's sometimes you can't lose sight of the big picture. And I think that's what is happening here. So what we see today is we see Comey testifying. We see very interesting things that happened at that funeral. And like I said, I am a never swamper. So I, really didn't feel like I needed to be there to cover that. Although I was there, I was in DC, and I actually tried to get some coverage of it, but it was just wasn't going to happen. So I wanted to just give everybody an update here, because I want people to be very careful when you see, GoldFish Report's going to tell it like it is. Okay, I was there. I was there during this impromptu with Secretary Mnuchin, and he was very optimistic and very, very straightforward. And they have not hesitated. Now today, they've not hesitated about, reassuring the commitments and how committed, China actually is to these deals and seeing these deals through. Excuse me, I'm trying to find my sorry. I'm trying to find my other page that has other, yeah, here we go. Okay, it's my Q page here. I wanted to go to the President Trump's tweets for today, excuse me, and talk about what he's tweeting about, because I think this really gives us a better idea. It sums up what's happening with the president. And let's just go to first tweet. He's been tweeting a lot, so okay. I'll screen share it. Where did my Zoom? Here it is. Sorry about that. Here we go. Let's screen share this. So what we have here is we have President Trump's tweets starting within the past 15 hours. Again, saying fake news, the enemy of the people. Here it is. Did the FBI follow protocol to obtain the FISA warrant? I don't think so. The dossier was opposition research funded by opponents. Don't use government resources to take down political foes. This is huge, folks. Weaponizing government for gain. Is this really America? This is a witch hunt. I mean, look at all this statement from China. Look at this statement from China, folks, okay? There's no reason why the stock market should have taken a dive. Although it did recover most of it yesterday, it took a dive because someone was shorting the market. Someone who knows that the news can short the market, can control the markets, that the markets will react to these news on the mainstream outlets. Because here you have the president saying, statement from China. The teams of both sides are now having smooth communications and good cooperation with each other. We are full of confidence that an agreement can be reached within the next 90 days. I agree. So this is good. Now, this is what the president says. And of course, the mainstream outlets are going to spin this negatively because they know that they can make a handful of money. Somebody's going to make a handful of money on shorting the market. So here we go. He's talking about Jerome Corsi. This is not justice. This is not America. This is a political prosecution. The Special Prosecutor Council, to get this plea deal, demanded I lie and violate the law. They are the criminals. He's not alone. 17 angry Democrats, people forced to lie. Sad. So, the president in a previous tweet said he didn't know Jerome Corsi, but, obviously knows about what's happening. Excuse me. So more on the witch hunt here. The president tweets fake news, the enemy of the people. Let's make sure GoldFish Report gets that one retweeted. I actually have all these retweeted from another like a tablet. So it doesn't show up on here. That it's, in some cases it shows up, but they don't all show up. So just to be sure, we're going to do that because we always follow up on the president, as you know. I'm talking more about Border Patrol here. So this is important. Here we have Robert Mueller and Leakin Lion James Comey, our best friends. Just one of the many Mueller conflicts of interest. And by the way, wasn't the woman in charge of prosecuting Jerome Corsi, who I do not know, in charge of legal at the corrupt Clinton Foundation? A total witch hunt. Will Robert Mueller's big-time conflict of interest be listed at the top of his Republicans-only report? Will Andrew Weissman's horrible, vicious prosecutorial past be listed in the report? He wrongly describes people's lives, destroyed people's lives, took down great companies, only to be overturned 9-0 in the United States Supreme Court. Doing same thing to people now. Will all of the substantial and many contributions made by the 17 angry Democrats to the campaign of Crooked Hillary be listed in top of report? Will the people that work for the Clinton Foundation be listed at the top of the report? Will the scathing document about Lion James Comey by the man in charge of the case, Rod Rosenstein, who also signed the FISA warrant, which we know, be a big part of the report? Isn't Rod therefore totally conflicted? Will all of the lying and leaking by the people doing the report, and also Bruce Orr and his lovely wife Molly, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, and all the many fired people of the FBI be listed in the report? Will the corruption within the DNC and Clinton campaign be exposed? And so much more. Okay, so the president is tweeting this. I mean, this is huge. This is huge. You know what the president's doing is he's getting people prepared. He's getting us all prepared. Get ready. The mother of all bombs is coming. And for people who, are not, woken up, people who you couldn't red pill, people who you couldn't, tell them and, love them. You can still love them. They could be your family members, and probably many of them are, friends. They're going to get a shock of their life. But it's, some people said, how could a former first lady and secretary of state be involved in money laundering or, child trafficking? Well, get ready, because according to these documents and according to what's expected to be revealed in this declassification, and of course the email threads, we're going to be finding out a lot of evidence, a lot of facts of what's really going on, what has been going on in government. And it's sad because, if you continue reading on in this interview with Catherine Austin Fitts and Cynthia McKinney, they just talk about, what's causing this, I would say, well, how did they word this? I don't know if you would call apathy or indifference by the American people, or has it just been that the divide and conquer has been so extraordinarily successful? That's quite sad. As I reported before I left the White House regarding the, fact that we are paying them to not only surveil us, we're paying them to spy on us, we're paying them to basically manipulate us. It's really kind of a joke how gullible we've been. We've all been gullible because we got tired of politics. We left politics. We divorced ourselves from politics. And when we're not watching the store, this is what's happening. When we're not holding our government accountable, when people are asleep at the wheel, and at our defense, our lives are so busy. We've been sickened by poison, by GMOs, by fluoride, by chemtrails, and all this other problems, GMO foods changing our DNA, the RNA within our cells. Folks, it's not surprising. I mean, it's really engineered this way. When you realize it's been engineered this way. There was this, maniacal plan against humanity to really destroy us, use us as slaves. Those who are well enough, can, to kill off the others. And those who are strong enough to survival of the fittest, are the ones who are going to be implanted and completely controlled. Folks, that's not the agenda President Trump has. So this is why they're attacking him the way they are. I was just looking for another quote, but I don't want to go too far off the beaten path. Yeah. So here it is, where Cynthia McKinney and Catherine Austin Fitts are trying to understand, you know, how is it that people have become so complacent? And this is what Cynthia McKinney had to say. So there might be an answer to 5 or 10% by only recognizing who our allies are. Maybe we have allies we don't even know about. Maybe the allies that we have are because they understood there was something other than that was inhuman, that was operating a long time ago. I don't know. And Catherine's response to that, Catherine Austin Fitts says, I think that the people who are opposed to inhuman haven't found each other yet. And that is where the divide and conquer has been so successful. So there's the quote right there. So I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention because it's very, these two ladies, it's really an amazing conversation that they had. It was very revealing because Catherine, from her position in government, and her position in government, Cynthia, a previous position, I should say, at HUD, and Cynthia McKinney in her previous position in government. What an amazing conversation that was, and I really hope to hear more from them, and certainly also invite them onto the GoldFish Report to have a discussion of these issues. But let's continue with the president's tweets. Here it's been incorrectly reported that Rudy Giuliani and others will not be doing a counter to the Mueller report. This is fake news. Already 87 pages done, but obviously cannot complete until we see that final witch hunt report. So folks, this is coming. So the president is trying to get people ready. Whatever deals have been made have been made. And we are looking to see this come to fruition. The president also honored the events of Pearl Harbor, the attack 77 years ago. And here he's talking about doing a major counter report to the Mueller report. This should never again be allowed to happen to a future president of the United States. But I have to tell you, this happens to people every day. This happened to me in family court, still ongoing 7 years. It never ends. They will destroy you. If you speak out in the media, they will retaliate against you and destroy your life. They will bankrupt you, and this is what they've done. They kidnapped my children. They bankrupted my family, and worse things. It's the defamation, the humiliation, the harassment. It doesn't stop. So, folks, this has to stop. It's going to come to your door, and it'll be too late. We all have to see we're brothers and sisters in this together. And this is really, and seeing it happen to Kavanaugh. Oh, I just lost my connection. Seeing it happen to Kavanaugh, seeing it happen to the president is it's not unique. This happens all the time. I have to plug my headphones back in. This happens all the time. And sadly, it happens all the time. Maybe I wasn't even plugged in to begin with. Actually, I think I wasn't plugged in. Great. Okay, so I am pleased to announce this morning the president announced that I will be nominating the Honorable William P. Barr for the position of Attorney General of the United States, and as who was a former AG for George H.W. Bush, and one of the most highly respected lawyers and legal minds in the country, and he will be a great addition to our team. I look forward to having him join our very successful administration. So that's a very good post as well. And so that's where we're going to leave it for today. So I just wanted to give a little update. I said I was going to give a report when I came back. This is the report. I'm sorry about the volume, my voice, and my malaise. So, round of antibiotics has not worked, and we'll see, maybe another one will, but I hate taking the medication. I felt awful while I was in DC this past week, and that's why I didn't do as many reports as usual. But I'm a trooper. I'm trying to hang in there. I'm trying to get the work done and bring it to the viewers. And look, we really hope that you all contribute to our road to the White House. We can't make this happen. It's really historic that social media is at the press briefings and able to participate and get the real facts, like I reported on Monday, which were spun by the mainstream media to short the market, in my opinion. That's what happened. So I think we should be optimistic. I think there's a lot of reasons why we should trust China on this. Look at what China's doing around the world. If you go to our GoldFish Report news page on Facebook, I post a lot of news about China.
Xinhua News. I post a lot of what's going on. And China's involved in everything on the planet. Every country they're involved in restoring trade. They're involved in restoring currency. And, we're ready. We're ready to have our currency reset. We're ready to change over. I wanted to ask Secretary Mnuchin. Oh, I so wanted to ask him some questions, but he wouldn't take any more. Somebody did ask one of the questions I wanted to ask, so I wasn't going to repeat it, but it was about the currency, how the trade, whether there was going to be an impact on the currency. But I had more specific questions, which I'm not going to reveal because I want to wait for my next impromptu with Secretary Mnuchin. But I've got to be there to make that happen. And he did talk about AI, and I know this has to do with the quantum financial computing system, which is completely new globally. This has the new SIPS transfer system that's going to outdate SWIFT. Basically, what the alliance with the good guys had to do was replace everything, put a completely new infrastructure in, and take the power out of the hands of the people who wouldn't share power or relinquish power, and just create, I would say, next to it, or simultaneously create a new system, and then the old one would become obsolete. This is essentially what's happened. SWIFT is no longer going to be, I don't know, could be dead. I haven't really looked at any wire transfers or transactions, but I don't think it is, because we haven't officially switched over to a new financial system. But folks, according to Secretary Mnuchin, AI was a big subject. It's going to be this quantum financial computing system. It's global. There's going to be a lot of changes, so stay tuned. And please go to our website at thegoldfishreport.com and become a patron of the Goldfish Report. We can't do this without our patrons because of the censorship. And I've talked about this, lamented about this, really, almost in every report, because every week it just seems like they're attacking Goldfish Report. We've been around for a long time. We've had millions of views, thousands of subscribers. We've had, 170, 80,000, maybe even more weekly viewers on our news page, and they are choking us, our reach. They're choking, shadow banning, censoring, blocking. It's, if it's not for the viewers, we need the viewers to circulate this. All the bloggers need to circulate this, because we're all doing our own part. We're all playing our own part, and we need to work together as a team, because what's happening to me is not happening only to me, Goldfish Report. It's happening to many people, conservative, people who are reporting conservative news. And it's just a matter of time before it happens to the next person and the next person. As you know, our YouTube channel was deleted back in March, and it was never restored. We lost all of that, folks. I mean, I spent many, years sacrificing my time to build this, and then they just delete it and take it away. So that's really serious antitrust violations, in my opinion. They are, as you know, censoring free speech. So I think this is going to be part of the plan eventually. They could cooperate, they could make the takedown and the change over to the new system easier for everybody, and they will not do it. So, we're going to struggle along, and hopefully not struggle too much longer, but we are doing our best here, and we can't do it without our viewers. We absolutely cannot do it without our viewers. There's no way it's possible. So if you want to keep Goldfish Report going and keep it relevant, we need our patrons. We need people who can make a commitment on a monthly basis to Goldfish Report to keep the operation going. And, like I said, I'm very privileged to be at the White House, and we're doing everything we can. I have my other co-hosts who continue to do reports with me, and I'm really grateful for the Goldfish Report team. But I also consider the viewers part of that team, viewers who send me links to other stories and articles that I publish, and, even the viewers who, add comments to the comment section. So it's everybody's part of this. This is why we're doing it. You have to realize there's something bigger involved here than just yourself, and everybody has to pitch in. It's now time. Now is not the time anymore to sit back and think somebody else is going to take care of everything. Now is the time to show the creator above what you're willing to do, because we're all going to be judged. We really all will be judged, and you know, you have to ask yourself, are you doing everything that you can do? And whatever that is, in whatever way you can. It's, you know, whether it's links, whether it's stories. And on a last note, I get so much mail about Winston Shrout. It's unbelievable. A lot of people care about Winston, and I understand that. And of course, we, you know, I care about Winston a lot too. And I just want to report that I have spoken to Winston. He's in good spirits. And that's all I can say at this point. That's all I can say. But so please, when I have more to say, I will definitely report that. So if you don't hear back from me, it's just because I can't handle the number of emails and get all my work done at the same time. So, you know, or, you know, I just can't answer specific questions that people have sent to me. So I want to also just thank everybody. Follow us on Twitter, follow us on Facebook. We have, you know, we have to rebuild everything again because they continue to censor us. So make sure you follow us, like us on Facebook, go to our YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and be part of GoldFish Report, because this is for you. This is, you know, I might be the primary person involved, but this is all for you guys. So, you know, we just want a better world for our children, because the way things were going, there was really, quite honestly, it was not a good future at all. And when you realize that, when you expose to that, when you see that, you realize that this is the time that you have to find out what you're made of and what are you willing to fight for. So having said that, I want to thank everybody for viewing. This is going to be posted very soon, and we'll see you next time. We're going to be back on Monday with another POTUS report, of course, with the FETs. So stay tuned. Have a great weekend, everyone. And this concludes this edition of the GoldFish Report.